So we got the news early this morning from NJPW1972.com. It says during his G1 Climax 31 opening match on September 18th in Osaka, Tetsuya Naito suffered an injury to his left knee. Damage was incurred to his left meniscus and MCL. Naito is unable to compete on the remainder of the G1 Climax Tour and does not currently have a timetable for return. All remaining tournament matches will be counted as losses via forfeit, with opponents gaining an automatic 2 points. Naito's remaining opponents will instead be competing in special singles matches with card changes outlined below. We apologize to fans who are looking forward to seeing Naito wrestle. We appreciate your understanding and support and wish Naito the best in his recovery. So some tough news here for the LIJ fans, tough news for people who picked Naito to win the block or the tournament in our Pick'em contest, and just some tough news for Naito and his career going forward. And we had lots of questions here on the Naito knee injury. So first from Reddit user Chalk, how do you see Naito's knee injury, kayfabe, affecting him moving forward?
Well, I think he asked that right before he was actually legit hurt, right? So he like, assuming that it would have been part of the story, the damage that Zach had done, that would have played out throughout the tournament. Right now, doesn't really apply anymore.
Yeah, I mean, that was a crazy thing. Like the commentary, like after the match was like, yeah, Zach really thrown it on his knees. This could be the end of Naito's tournament, and it was.
Well, they're always just going off of what's given to them. They don't know, what's a work, what's not. They just call it all like a shoot. So, it's pretty appropriate.
Yeah, and just kind of crazy news to wake up to this morning.
Yeah, very unfortunate. Next question from Viking Pain. He asked, it turns out Naito's knee injury was legit after all, and he will be missing the remainder of the G1. Do you guys have any idea how it happened? How big of an injury is it? Is it a sprain, a dislocation, a tear? How long will he be gone?
Yeah, like I said, I tried to go back and look at it. He looked like he was pretty okay the whole time until that double stop. I don't want to blame Zach for it if he didn't do it, but it might have just been a misstep, literally. After that double stop, when he goes to do the satellite DDT a little while later, you can see that he kind of stumbles a little bit. His leg doesn't look like it's completely under him. I don't know if that was him selling or if that was it happening. He's such a good seller that you literally cannot tell. But yeah, I think it's a shame that he's going to be out for the whole G1, and the fact that they said that they don't know, that it's undetermined amount of time. That's a little concerning, right?
Yeah, and like you said, Danny, watching the match, I thought Naito was just selling. I mean, we've seen him. There was a match earlier this year where somebody rolled into his leg, and that looked pretty bad. He ended up being fine. So I'm like, well, the story of the match is Zach is working over his leg. And yeah, that double stomp to the knee was pretty nasty. But again, I thought he was selling. He locks him up. He's working submission holds on it. He has him tied up there at the end. And I'm like, oh yeah, Naito's selling. This is going to be the story of his G1. He's going to have to struggle through these knee injuries until he can hopefully get to the finals.
And that's a pretty good story, provided it's just a story.
Right.
Provided he shows up, yeah. There was one. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Josh.
No, you go. I was just going to ask the next question, so go ahead.
Oh, no, there was one other moment where I thought maybe I had contributed to the injury, because I know that for a shoot, like, it's very hard to take even when you're ready for it, like the scissor takedown. Even when that's something that you're just drilling, and your knee goes sideways pretty easy on that. I thought maybe that was it. That's the kind of move that I wouldn't even practice on people at a certain point. Like, I just think it's so risky to do that it's not worth doing. And Zach did it well, but I thought that maybe that was when his knee turned a little bit sideways.
Naito was a heavy favorite by a lot of people to get to the finals. Now with his injury, do you think who do you think's coming out of the finals of the A block? Me personally, I think Shingo Takagi becomes the first champion to get to the finals now. I will have you know, this is incorrect. We've actually had 2 champions win the G1 in the past, not just become finalists, but Keiji Muto, as well as who was Power Warrior? Kensuke Sasaki. I actually don't know how many other champions have ever made it to the finals. That's a good question. I'm not sure about that, but I know that there have been in the past. But who do you guys think's gonna take A Block now?
Yeah, that's hard. And, obviously, as Chris and I talked about a couple of weeks ago, it could be kind of cool if you do the whole, Shingo gets to the finals, kind of prove he's the real world champion and maybe even win the G1. But the hard thing is with Shingo winning the block, then he's facing somebody from the B block, and let's say he loses, then that's going to be a title match at the Dome. And we know typically they don't do matches that they're going to do at the Dome. I know it's very different in this pandemic era, and they have done that, especially with the double Dome Dash. And I know we're going to have 3 Wrestle Kingdoms this year, but I think it would be a smart move to do one of your Dome main events as the finals main event again. And let's say it's like Shingo Okada. I don't think that they should do that. They should save that if that's going to be the actual one of the Dome matches. So, I mean, I think Sabre could be an interesting option to come out of the A block, especially if the winner is coming out of the B block. Sabre can be in the finals and lose. That's no big deal. I think the other favorite would probably be Kota Ibushi, a guy that's been in the finals multiple times now, multiple-time winner. He's starting off cold, like you mentioned, Danny, but he could finish hot, and that he could end up being a guy going into the finals again.
I think there's a little Stone Pitbull that you guys might be discounting right now. I don't know.
No, I could see that. Winning the block, at least. Winning the block for sure. Probably not the whole thing. Yeah,
No,
I think there's...
You can win the whole thing.
Oh, okay. All right. You're right. Yeah, I mean, I think in A block, it's easier to say just who's definitely not winning, right? Otherwise, it's kind of like, I don't know. Like before Naito was injured, I would have said Sabre's probably not in the running for that. But now I could totally see that. Like, yeah, this is how these things happen, right? Somebody gets injured, somebody else takes their spot. This is their moment to shine, and they make the most of it. So we know like Great Khan, Kenta, Tangaloa. Yujiro. Oh, what are we saying? Yujiro's winning the whole thing. We already established that. Why are we talking about this?
Huge.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I would be Ibushi, right? Like, I think that's the most logical. Takagi is not really an option to me because of the reasons you said, Jeremy. But yeah, I can see Ibushi, Ishii winning the block, and now Sabre, whereas before I probably wouldn't have said that.
They might go with Shingo just because they got 3 G1 nights. All bets are out the window, so... Or I'm sorry, 3 Wrestle Kingdom nights. So it's really hard to say.
I think.
And is that 3 Wrestle Kingdoms plus Dash? Have they revealed that or not yet?
So we have heard the rumor that there will be a Dash. We don't have that verified, but that's just kind of what we've heard. That's the scuttlebutt. Wow.
So if there's going to be a New Year's Dash, that means a lot of big things are going to be happening on that 3rd show. Some people might be coming into the country. But if there's no New Year's Dash, then they might just have to work around some stuff.
But why do I feel like you guys are holding out?
No, we're not. That's literally what we just told you is what we heard. There is talks that there might be a Dash in between the real Wrestle Kingdom and the fake Wrestle Kingdom. Last part of his question, he said, "Am I crazy to think that this knee injury will actually do some good for Naito in the long run?" Yes, I know he's one of New Japan's biggest stars and they need him, but Naito's body's really beaten up too, and he could use the time off.
I don't know. I mean, dude, maybe if it was like a torn bicep or something like that, or a torn pec.
Don't you feel like this man's had time off like in the very recent past, and like it didn't do him that much good?
Yeah.
There's something to be said for inertia, right? Like that he keeps moving, he keeps working. Like I wonder what happens if he's forced to take a long time off, if he'll ever rebound again. He's not a young guy, and he is, like I said, pretty jacked up.
Remember all those people that were freaking out when they decided to go with Okada over him?
Yeah.
Maybe the bookers knew a little bit something about the health of Tetsuya Naito, because I mean this man's been broken down for a few years now, and I'm not saying that. I know it's funny, but like honestly, I don't ever think that someone having a serious knee injury is ever good for them in the long or the short run, like at all. So hopefully he gets better, but yeah, it's not good news.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough. A lot of people when they have knee injuries don't come back 100% themselves. They maybe can't do a lot of things they did in the past.
Dude, and if it's a tear, if you have to have surgery and then the rehab, and sometimes if you like let's say if you have to have like a cadaver like ligament or something put in there, it doesn't take. I mean especially at his age. No, I don't think it's good, honestly, at all.
Yeah.
I mean, it might do some good to the rest of his overall health, but for his knees, I mean, that's not good.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed. I always think back to like as far as knee injuries go, the one that stands out the most in my mind is Rey Mysterio, right? Because Rey Mysterio knee injury and post knee injury are very different wrestlers. You know, like he's still great regardless. Doesn't matter. I'm not. Don't at me, please. Everybody, Ray stands, relax. Okay, stand down. But pre-knee injury, he's a revelation, right? And then after that, he's never quite the same. He's not doing the same exact things he used to do. He's smart. He's like Liger, right? In that he adjusted his offense and changed his style to compensate for his changing, ability. But he is different, And at this point, what kind of transition would Naito have to make at this age to a slower style? Like, that would be strange.
Didn't Naito... Jeremy, if you recall, and maybe you remember, Danny, in the road to New Beginning, didn't he have something where it looked like his knee was like literally fucked, and then he still ended up wrestling Ibushi, and we didn't know how at the time?
Right, like somebody had like rolled into his knee. I forgot who he was wrestling, but
I think it was Nagata.
Yes, yeah, Nagata did one of his like the roll kick things to his.
Nagata rolled into his knee, or someone did, and it looked so bad. And we were like speculating about like, he's gonna be out for 8 months, 9 months, blah blah. And then somehow he got cleared, and somehow he still wrestled. But I don't know. I'm still wondering like if because now here we are. It's not that, it's just further down in the year, and he's out with the knee injury. And I remember how horrific that looked. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think he just put another roll of tape on his knee and said, let's do this. So the question is, can he get another roll under that knee pad?
Next question from Rambone Slam Pig. He asked us, with news of Naito's injury surfacing, I will re-ask an old question. Did Gato wish on a cursed monkey paw? Because this is getting crazy. Feel free to incinerate my G1 bracket.
Well, I think, a lot of people's G1 brackets are up in smoke now. I mean, I had Naito winning the A block, so I don't see myself, surviving in our contest much longer. But, yeah, I don't think Gato put a curse on him, but definitely some bad luck here for Naito.